Good now, revolutionaries, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. Today is Tuesday. Hoy es miércoles? No, miércoles es Wednesday, November 18th, noviembre 18. Oh my gosh. See what I mean? Like in the vocabulary. Will and I are here to tell you how hard it is to learn a new language. If this is your place for helpful crypto news, commentary, answers to your questions, I am broadcasting live from Argentina and so glad to be back with you guys. Will, it must feel really good to be home, man.
It feels really good to be home, but like last night I slept through the whole night thanks to melatonin. Not sponsored, but honestly, I would be willing to sponsor melatonin because I didn't wake up at 1 a.m. or 3 a.m., which was great. So I feel weird, but it's also kind of like weird being back home. But I said this last night on the stream. If anybody has the opportunity to take a 2-week-long vacation, there's a big difference between, and I know our European friends are like, that is every vacation. But in America, it's really hard to take more than like 9 days off, like max, like 9 days, 10 days off. Like you take off 1 week, you get a weekend. Hey, great, awesome. But a full 2 weeks really, those last 4 days really changed like your mental. Like I really forgot about work. I really forgot about everything and just was having fun and just like living in the moment a little bit more. And I found a big difference coming back home and just being like feeling lighter and happier. Yeah. It's a big difference. A 1.5-week vacation to a 2-week-long vacation, big mental difference I found, which is great.
I completely agree with this because like, and also having time on the back end at home to like just kind of sink a little bit into it and get used to your schedule. Do you do that before and after trips too? Because that has been a hack in my like later years. I try to put like a day or two of buffer on either end just so I can like really be prepped and really get back into it.
I definitely have never even thought of or considered putting days before a trip to kind of get out of like the work mode mindset and get into vacation mode, because I just don't feel like I've never, in my entire adult life, I just don't think I've ever been in a position where I felt like I could take even more time off to get into vacation mode. It's always just a mad dash to cram as much as I possibly can to then have the first day of vacation be really anxiety driven because I am not working and there's other things to do. And then it takes me a little bit to get into that vacation mode because I'm just like anxious. I'm like, I'm not working. And it's hard for me. It's hard for me to get into vacation mode.
Shout out to Solomon who noticed that I said that Evan said later years, and we're as old as we've ever been, aren't we? We may be youthful, but we're as old as we've ever been. I know already a lot of people in the comments are asking, are we cooked? And so I'm curious to know, Will, from your perspective and the show yesterday, what did you guys talk about as we were starting to, I was at the World Fair and I was just getting notifications from CoinGecko, like, Bitcoin is 94,000, Bitcoin is 93,000, Bitcoin is 92. I was like, oh my God, what are we doing? Everything here is really great, I feel like. But that's not probably feeling wonderful for people. I saw you tweet about it. Can you catch me up on your TLDR without I don't want to make you repeat the whole market watch. I will catch up to it eventually. Are we cooked?
Maybe. No, I think we're in bounce territory. So like last night we got questions because Doug and I are both pretty bearish, but we got questions like, oh, should I open up a short right now? And Doug and I were both like, no, probably not, because we're really close to a bounce territory here for Bitcoin, which is now that there's a gap on the futures chart at 92K that got filled, right? For those of you who don't know what a gap is, it's just like a daily candle ends here and then starts up here, and there's nothing in this zone because traditional markets don't operate on the weekend, right? That's typically when gaps get created, typically. And so there's no rhyme or reason as to why those gaps need to get filled. They just tend to, right? So that gap was filled. Just know a bearish event was erased. So now that gap was filled at 92K, we're kind of in a bounce opportunity here between 92K to about 85K. Somewhere in here, we're personally expecting Bitcoin to have some kind of a bounce. And we're starting to get that a little bit today at about $89,000 it started. And so we'll see how today's daily candle goes. We'll see how much of a bounce this could be, right? This could be a bounce of Bitcoin up to like 96, 100K, or maybe what we're seeing on today's daily candle with like 10 hours to go before the daily candle closes ends up being a little bit of a fake out. And we go towards our initial targets of that 88 to 85K range before getting a meaningful bounce, right? Now, are we cooked after that? Every single bear market has rallies, just like every single bull market has sell-offs, right? So I'm personally expecting a rally there. If the rally ends up being really confident, if there's a real big green candle, if there's a real big bullish wick, if there's suddenly a lot of bullish momentum, something changes in the macroeconomics, right? We'll totally change our mindset here. But as of right now, we are looking to have like several months of bearish momentum overall. So kind of cooked. And our advice was, hey, if you are dollar cost averaging into assets, make sure it's not just positions that are down. Make sure it's positions that you have that you also have long-term conviction in, right? It shouldn't just be some random little meme coin. It shouldn't be something that doesn't have some kind of just general business model around it, particularly because if we're going into a bearish period, in bearish periods, the coins that do rebound hype goes out the window. So let me refresh. In a bull market, the coins that pop off the most are the ones with the most hype, not necessarily the ones with the best business models. In a bear market, in a consolidation period, the coins that bounce are the ones that have a good business model and good tokenomics, right? There's no hype. Hype has been deflated. Hype has left the building. It was sent into the sun and obliterated into ashes, right? The only thing that bounces, with rare exceptions, are coins with good fundamentals and good business models, right? So those are the things that you should be looking for to build positions in if you're looking to build a position, or those are the types of things that you should be looking at in terms of, well, why should I have long-term conviction in this thing, right? It's because there's a good business model, because there's a good adoption, because there are good tokenomics, right? Because hype is gone. Hype is dead right now. Not hyper liquid, but hype.
But all the hype, something that really evidenced that for me is a feather in my cap. I saw Jay Heat asked about it. The Monad pre-sale, I forgot it was yesterday. I don't know what day it is when I'm at at Ethereum with the Ethereans, or any conference for that matter. But I saw that Monad raised $90 million, which was only like 45% of subscription. And I was not shocked at that based on how the market was doing. But I was kind of shocked about, just how much it affected that. And also, did you see Aztec did a token sale that also had, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but really like lackluster. Do you guys know that one? That was for people who are listening, a privacy focused protocol that got, I would say, a lot of mind share and attention and was expected to be, performant. I feel like this is more reflective of sentiment in the market than it is anything related to those projects. Maybe people are just burned out and squeezed dry.
Yeah, no. I mean that, and also it's hard to get people to give money towards very speculative things if they don't feel safe and secure, right? When you don't feel safe and secure, and that's not just the market condition right now, that's also like groceries are expensive and like things just don't feel good. And Alex has talked about for years now how things just haven't felt good for people in America for like about 2 years now, let's say 2-3 years, right? You could totally argue longer, but it just hasn't really felt good, and it felt worse and worse and worse. And so when people aren't secure, what do? They put their money into cash. They buy gold. Those are the traditional things. But people don't spend money. People don't invest, right? They hoard their cash.
Well, and also retail investors act a lot different than somebody who's a venture capitalist, and a venture capitalist fund has an expectation of deploying a certain amount of capital and holding on to whatever they get in exchange for a certain amount of time. In some cases, they have to. I think a lot of people who are entering a sale like this are entering it expecting to have tokens that go up in value that they sell as soon as they're able to. I know I certainly would be. Like I wouldn't be buying any of these things because I deeply believe in the vision. Not that I don't think Monad or Aztec could be cool, but they don't really have a product yet. I don't think Monad Mainnet is live. And so you're asking everyday people to do the job that a venture capitalist would normally do. And that's a lot of risk to take on. And traditionally, when that has happened, those people have capitulated and sold at the first opportunity because they don't have the same kind of alignment or skin in the game. So, it's an interesting time in the market. Let me welcome, for the benefit of the audience in podcast land, our good friend and colleague, Mr. Alex Popovich, to the conversation. You've been quiet over there, buddy. Can I get a little ABC from you?
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault.
It's not my fault. This is so fast.
Guilty conscience.
I'm not quiet on purpose. Can you hear this? Is this?
I can, but now I hear like a little tiny itsy bits of like static in the background. It just popped up like 30 seconds ago.
Yeah.
I also hear that. I hear
good.
it when you're speaking, Will, and I don't think it's. I think it might be me. I'm
at the same time, Twitter is also down, so who knows what's going on right now.
Oh my gosh! If there's static where you are when you listen, let us know. If you think that the internet is ending, also, then maybe we ought to get out of here. Maybe we really are cooked. But as long as you're here with us, enjoying this fake radio show, then leave us your questions in the comments. Tori says, "I think it's Evan. I don't hear it here." Well, you know what?
Evan, put yourself on mute for one quick second.
Take it away, Will.
All right, let's hear. Let us know as we go on this rant. Yeah, no, it's Evan. Yep. Boo this man. Boo. Take it away, Will. Boo.
It's not awful.
It's awful on my end, dude.
Oh, really? Okay.
No.
Well,
interesting. Travel studio.
After you talk amongst yourselves.
Oh, Alex and Will both have the same issue. It's bad. He sounds like a robot. It's terrible.
Oh, jeez.
Sage is messing with the show.
I got you now. Isn't that better?
Oh, that is better.
Wherever you are, whenever you listen, even if you're a robot. So, guys.
Everyone says fixed. Better, fixed. Wonderful. Thank you, everybody in the comment section. Appreciate y'all.
We might have to do that again. I'm not entirely sure what it is. I suspect it's this cable I bought in Buenos Aires. I was walking around at the last minute on, what was it, last Monday, and I was just looking for cables. I called Alex and I was telling him about it while you were in Japan, and I was like, well, the one cable that's not going to work with my laptop, I got to buy it. I got to walk around. I have felt so, we were saying before we started the stream, I practiced a lot of Spanish to come here. And I used to speak a lot more Spanish, but I have felt so like unprepared, even though I speak it well, for the dialects and for just the general broadness of conversation. You always talk about the thing you don't prepare. So it was an adventure shopping for a cable everywhere in Buenos Aires, Cargadora, that kind of thing.
I'm sure it was. Google Translate ends up becoming your best friend.
Yeah, it really does. So we're both strangers in a strange land, or at least you were. Although I have to say, guys, I really am very excited about the Ethereum World Fair specifically. For the last couple of days, I've been involved in this, making this Polkadot event successful, the Sub-Zero Symbiosis event. And that took a lot of energy. But now the Ethereum World Fair is this is like hands down, I would say, the best conference I've ever been to, if only for the sense of community and relationship that is made real here. Something that has been a real theme throughout all the conferencing has been, we're building the infrastructure for the future of civilization and alternative models of being. And everybody really feels like citizens in this new city that is digital first, but then is made physical, is brought into the physical world when we all get together in a place like this. Crypto conferences always kind of feel like that. You're hanging out with your crypto friends. But more than any I've ever been to, I just feel like everybody here is really like a citizen of this internet country first. And it's reflected in the way they dress. It's reflected in the way they talk. It's reflected in how diverse they are, how many different languages and dialects are represented. And it's also reflected in how they know each other. Like usually when you meet somebody for the first time, you act like strangers, but because a lot of people here are either friends who are simply meeting in person for the first time, or they're meeting through a good friend or through like an entity that they know. There is this warmth to every meeting that feels like reuniting with an old friend. And I'm really excited to share more pictures and maybe some videos and stuff. I need to hopefully share some content about it. But I just wanted to tell you guys that it made me miss you both. Because just the spirit of the thing, it feels so real, even though prices are down and stuff like that. It really feels like, I don't know. It feels like the gathering of people who believe in the future we see.
You know, I would enjoy every conference more if price went up during them, but they always goes down.
That's true.
Always goes down during crypto conferences.
Yeah,
you know what?
I
think Will just cracked it. That's why the market's been so. We have more conferences than ever. There's a conference every 6 weeks.
That could be it.
Mm-hmm.
That could be it.
And also, so Bearded did point this out in the comments here on YouTube. For those of you who don't know, Twitter is down, ChatGPT isn't working, right? So Cloudflare went offline globally, and it's taking half the internet with it. ChatGPT, X, even Down Detector is struggling. So a lot of things are struggling today from an internet standpoint, which means I don't have to work today. Woo! No, I'm sure I do. I'm sure
I do.
I have to use works perfectly.
I know you do. I know I do. Today, man, like every day is here at the conference. There's Polygon's got a multi-chain day. There's a privacy day. Oh no, maybe that's tomorrow. There's so much to do, man. I've got to go. I've got to switch Airbnbs. I made a meeting with content chef. Yeah, I don't know why.
That was wild.
Meeting. It's like, whoa. Oh yeah, come here, big summertime blowout sale. Yeah, like you immediately became that character from Frozen.
A meeting with content chef who is an African creator who works with our friend Carla God.eth. Shout out, the founder of BitSave. And he is doing some content to tell the story of the Ethereum World Fair. And I'm sure he's going to tell people about BitSave. I can't wait to meet with him later. I am hoping to peek at Vitalik once or twice more throughout this event. And then tonight, our friends at Polygon are hosting an event with Boys Club. They're calling it Hard Launch. And I don't know, it sounds like could be a good time. I'm personally hoping I can get out of there sometime for a little bit of a nap.
Who are some of the interesting people you've had a chance to meet with and have a conversation with?
I've met our friends Stella and Stacey from Unlock Protocol. That was one of the things I'd love to prepare is I have taken a ton of pictures with everybody, and I will share pictures another time, definitely in the community. It will be difficult, though, to put them all up in one place. Stella, Stacey, I have met Brooke, CJ, Brooke's partner. I have met... oh my gosh. Now you're I haven't met any of the Polygon squad yet here in person, but I know some of them. I have met Ave. I have met our friends at Octant. I have met oh man, I'm so unprepared. I'm tired, man. I have to go through my camera reel and tell you.
When you're traveling and especially like at a conference, something like a big work event or whatever, it's like thinking back 24 hours ago feels like a 7-month kind of like memory voyage to try to pull out what the hell happened yesterday, especially when you no sleep.
I've met a lot of the friends from TallDAO. I've met a lot of I've met the folks I met the founder and director of marketing over at Morpho. I caught up with Linda Shea, who's over at Farcaster now. And you know who I saw? I texted everybody. I was so excited. I'm always saying on the show that one of my favorite sources for crypto news right now is Unchained with Laura Shin. And I saw Laura Shin yesterday. And when I tell you, usually I really don't get starstruck. But Laura Shin is just somebody whose work I think is phenomenal. And when I saw her, I was honestly just so surprised that I think I got giddy and delighted. And she was in a conversation with a guy. I texted them. I was like, she's been talking to this guy for like 10 minutes. I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to keep, like watching, but I've got her in my sights. I did not get to talk to her yesterday, but she'll be around and I'm sure it'll happen. I'm not worried about it. And when those meetings happen, when I get my brain caught up, I will post pictures and recaps and stuff like that. It'll live in the community at community.rumshq.com. Where the only thing missing is you. Somebody saved me from myself.
Let me ask this. So what are some of the most common things that people are talking about, like what they're building? So like, for example,
civilization
things. Yeah. So like when we were all at ETH Denver, everyone was like AI bots. Like that was the thing that everyone was talking about. So like, when you say civilization, like what are you talking about?
Okay. What I mean is the crypto is going to be so much more than currency. People hear me say this who tune into the show all the time. The way that your phone does so much more than calls. And it's an entirely new medium, a new mode of making meaning, coordinating and aligning our values to like scale what human on earth life looks like. And more than anywhere else I've been, and not just the Ethereum conference, not just this or that speaker, but I would say a lot of people feel like we have reached this inflection point where the infrastructure is pretty darn good. It supports a lot of things. We have more things to come. Privacy is an interesting concern that people are talking a lot about right now. The integration of agentic workflows is something people are talking a lot about right now. But I feel like all of it comes back to this idea for infrastructure that will help us build an entire new civilization, that will help us build a new society that is oriented first digitally and most of all on better values. It doesn't matter who you voted for. I think most people can agree that the world could use some love right now in the sense that people feel divided. There are wars, there are conflicts. And at the same time, we can call somebody in Korea or in Japan or in Argentina and have a conversation with them because we have Google Translate. And we realize we are all more alike than different. And there is no need for us to war with each other or see each other as enemies. But we need better tools to give those people who are our allies the power to coordinate with us. And I think people are feeling more hopeful than ever about the state of the tooling we have. And they're talking about what that kind of thing looks like. What does a network state like Ethereum look like when it meets in the physical world? How do we gather? How do we organize resource distribution? How do we share our lives? And how will we build that better future? I think that's the conversation that I'm seeing. I also see a lot of fear, uncertainty, doubt around like business models. I feel like people who've been here a while are always a little jaded and are upset about how once again, there is a public sale for a token like Monad where we go to retail investors and expect them to buy into a product. Right, exactly. That doesn't physically exist yet. And I thought we were done with this 4 years ago when we did it for the second time, that kind of thing. But hope is the undercurrent. Privacy gets talked about a lot. Funding models are being talked about a lot. Integrating AI with DeFi is something I'm seeing a lot. Of course, stable coins, but I feel like there's less of that stablecoin stuff because most of the people who are here are like, Ledger and Aave and Morpho. And it's not like some startup company that's like, we're going to tokenize gold that's already, on a spaceship somewhere or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's the legit builders. And I'm excited to see more of that. I'll keep you posted because I'm going to see a lot of programming about privacy, about public goods funding, and a couple of other things through the end of the week. But that's like the big themes.
Nice, man. Well, it's cool to know kind of what DevConnect's all about because I honestly didn't have any idea about it. And for those of you who don't work in the industry, which is kind of, I feel like it's weird. I'm like, I work in the industry. I'm like, I just still don't really feel like it. Meanwhile, I have Arculus shirt on and I'm drinking from a Gino coffee mug. And I'm like, yeah, I guess kind of work in the industry now.
We are the perfect inverse, by the way, because I have the Arculus mug and the Gito shirt.
Oh, that's perfect.
the yin and yang.
The yin and yang. And
I'm Web3 sponsorship.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, like, working in the industry, there has been a real clear shift away from kind of like the bluegrass, like anti-establishment, beginning cultural movement that has been in crypto, I would say, from the moment of Bitcoin's inception all the way up to, let's say, 2022 or so, where like ETF really kind of started to be like, oh, this is going to happen. And ETFs here. And now you've started to feel like the suits coming in, right? Business, numbers. We're all going to IPO. We're, all going to, bow down to BlackRock kind of thing. And it's just really focused around money making. Always has been a huge focus, right? Of course, but much more like business focused as opposed to like ethos focused, talking about how do we improve society, right? If for those of you who are here in 2017, how we improve society was always a much bigger part of the conversation across crypto socials than it is currently. Today, it's much more so this meme coin, much more so, money making opportunities, much more so, business focus, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing, but just how it is. So it's nice to know that there's still a huge gathering of that like ethos, that we're here to improve the world kind of thing. Like blockchain technology is technology built by the people for the people to improve the people's lives, not just the fat cats, right? And it's one of those things where like we've also had philosophical conversations here where it's, hey, crypto's now just becoming a tool to enrich the wealthy and the elite, right? The Black Rocks and the Larry Finks are going to come in and they're going to scoop up the industry and use it as a tool that will be like every bit of new technology, where it will benefit the elite and end up not benefiting, the people as much, right? That trend's gonna shift. But the beautiful thing about decentralized technology is that you will always have access to build your own thing, to build something for the people, by the people, to get rid of the middlemen, to make things cheaper, to make things faster, to improve people's lives, to bank the bankless, all that kind of stuff, despite the entrance of your BlackRocks and your Fidelities and your World Liberty Financials and your Trump family, and then the Nancy Pelosi's of the world, and all these people who we should look at as
Takers,
our enemies, right? Whether you're a Democrat or a Republican or black or white or Christian or Muslim or atheist or whatever, it is not about those things. It is about people trying to do right by themselves, by all of us, as compared to the people trying to divide us and use that to empower and enrich themselves, right? The beautiful thing about decentralized technology is that there will always be an avenue that can never be closed by those elites, despite their best efforts, and can be used to improve society. And so it's really nice to hear that DevConnect is a gathering of like minds on that sense, and that part of crypto will never go away, and that there will be people kind of fostering that flame. So that's really nice to just kind of hear, because every conference we've seen has been stablecoins, business, IPO, ETF, BlackRock, Fidelity, Trump, la 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 la.
Well,
I mean, the pendulum is swinging, but it's in the balance. Like, it's a precarious time right now, and people are concerned about it. Go ahead, Al.
There's a very aggressively growing sentiment on crypto Twitter, the beating heart of people who work in the industry. That's just all about, what happened? Where did we go wrong? And I think it's pretty obvious. We as an industry were so desperate for attention for so long that we were willing to take it from anyone who was willing to give it to us.
Mm-hmm.
And the first major influx of attention came from the most aggressive takers on the planet who saw the opportunity for extraction. The same way that, quite literally, any new burgeoning industry wherein wealth or finance or money or currency of some sort, value, right, is an integral piece. Gold mining, precious stones, literally anything, some new massive technological advancement. You're seeing it now with AI. You saw it before with vehicles, right? Like all this kind of stuff. It doesn't matter. The second something like that happens, at first there's the true believers who want to build it for building its sake to help people with whatever the advancement is. Then the takers show up. And here we just handed the whole thing over to the takers by applauding them for arriving. People couldn't wait for institutions to get here. Now they're here, and this is exactly what anyone should have expected when gigantic multi-billion-dollar firms who are very comfortable writing off an 8-figure loss on a day to make a 9-figure win next year, all that sort of stuff. And as a result, you compromise the integrity of what the industry was supposed to be, which was not a place to show up and get rich super quick. It was a place to show up and all of a sudden matter for the first time ever in the grand scheme of things, to not just be like repeatedly hosed and taken advantage of every single day. So there's a very strong desire to try to get back to that, which is why I think that probably the vibe at DevConnect, where you're at right now, Evan, is the way that it is, because there's like, it genuinely feels like we're approaching profound sadness amongst the people. The biggest like knife in the side was yesterday, seeing the news that DappRadar is shutting down because they can't find sustainability. When I don't think I've ever met a single person who works here, who's like familiar with the space, who's a fan, who's an investor, who's a believer, whatever, who isn't familiar with DappRadar and hasn't used it. And meanwhile, coupled alongside that, you have some other dumbass project that doesn't need to exist raising $10+ million on the same day that DappRadar is closing. So like my quote tweet of that was, I hope that this jolts the right people as aggressively as they need to be jolted, because there are people who are influential and rich and powerful enough to help turn things around, who have enough money. Brian Armstrong, I'm looking at you. You have enough money. You could do something for the industry instead of just doing whatever it is you're about to do next, which I'm sure is not going to help the industry. Like, that would be cool. Coinbase could absolutely save something like DappRadar. I'm not just picking on them, but they're a giant company that has plenty of money, that's killing it, that absolutely has the availability, that has sold themselves on the message of what this thing was supposed to be, and is now going a different direction by just cozying up and lobbying and doing all the usual, fat cat corporate rigmarole bullshit that is just so boring. It's so boring to me that company A launches on a good message, makes a shitload of money, goes to Washington, gets corrupted. Here we are, making gajillions and gajillions of dollars while we all get left behind again. And then they start demonizing smaller things. It's just, I don't know. It's a sad thing. And I hope that we're starting to like realize it's time to get our shit together here.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And it is an urgent conversation. And I will say, I do feel the doom and gloom and see that sentiment on Twitter. And I see it here too, but I feel like the most concerted people on the side of advocating for a different way are gathered here in this place. And they are very concertedly working on the problem, though I will admit many of them are as like jaded and curmudgeon-y as you, Alex. I was talking to a guy last night who was like, he was just talking about, and then Ethereum went and changed the model, and now they're just taking from everybody. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of people who are very bitter about like the way our industry has gone down this like path. Just a quick note, because we are getting a lot of comments about it in case you missed the announcement. Cloudflare is down right now, and they are investigating the outage. It's like calling your utility company and they say, yes, we are aware of the problem. We're working to fix it. Websites affected are X, all OpenAI websites, Coinbase, Spotify, Canva, AWS is down, IKEA is down. So
AWS is down right now?
Yeah.
Again.
So it's,
Again, wow. So
Right.
is ICP pumping? Can anyone
actually, it was so funny. I got the text yesterday from.
Maybe it isn't, because since Twitter's down, their one means of communicating with people has been removed. The decentralized internet, all this crypto industry. God, you guys really gotta expand out,
Dude,
man.
As I was getting the alerts like Bitcoin is falling, Bitcoin is falling, Bitcoin is falling from CoinGecko, I got an alert that was like ICP is up 10%. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, we're so unserious here,
I was getting questions like, why is ICP pumping? And I was just like, hey guys, when you're in a bear market, there's always like 3 to 5 coins that will still be pumping. It's because it remained a little bit green, and then the entire market, desperate for any kind of life raft, just dives into those handful of coins, and they'll remain green for a little bit. Then the party always ends.
In the comments, Doug said blockchain solves this. And I will say, maybe not specifically like a decentralized ledger, but definitely there are tech services in our space that can address this. There was a really great X post yesterday about how in the convention center, the Wi-Fi is malo, no bueno. And I forget the name of the founder, the company, but he was talking about how they had, no problems with it whatsoever because they have this like local mesh private that's the kind of solution I think we're going to start to see more of from crypto people. They're really focused on, let's be private again. Let's make privacy cool again. And we can do it with the internet. We could do it with our LLMs. I think the pendulum is swinging in that way.
Yeah, it's always a pendulum, but at the end of the day, I feel like there's a lot of powerful people that don't like privacy, and then it'll start to get a little snuffed out a little bit. But there has been a move towards privacy upgrades for a lot of things, which has been nice to see.
Yeah, you're right about that. I hope to try myself doing a local LLM. I tried about, I don't know, a year and a half ago, and it seemed too complicated for me at that time. Yeah. Brooke, shout out to Brooke Lacey, who says, I can show you. I love it. That's
Nice.
on my list to do. And the other one that's on my list to do is, what is it? We're talking about an LLM locally. And then, you know what I really want to do is there are several companies here that talk about ETH staking. Lido is here. And met a great fellow yesterday, Estefano. He runs an agency that focuses mostly on TikTok, real sharp guy. And he was saying, I could connect you to the Lido team. And we have several other friends that know them. I would love to help get us and our folks involved in running more nodes for the networks that matter to us. And I feel like we're missing a node partner. We've got great partners for, wallets, for DeFi, for other pieces of infrastructure, but I would love to bring a guest on the show and build a relationship with somebody who can really walk us all through the process of securing networks that we care about and helping to decentralize them more and more. That was one of the things Vitalik said from his talk on the stage yesterday was, I would like to see more people running nodes. It's easier than ever to do. And I haven't investigated the process since, it's been a couple of years. I
think that'd be great. I think that'd match with kind of like our ethos as well. Just,
I agree.
Creating a good safe space for everybody.
Is Alex really stoic right now? Or is he just...
Well, I do like his frozen picture on YouTube.
he was stoic on TikTok.
Yeah.
Got it.
But one thing I wanted to point out, this is going back to a little bit of our conversation from earlier, but and also Market Watch episode last night, we took time going through CoinMarketCap and finding the altcoins that were performing the best in these waves. And you had privacy coins, Monero, Zcash, were all doing well. So to the privacy point that you were making there, but also Aster, Hyperliquid, were also wildly outperforming Bitcoin over the past week too. So again, coins that have adoption, and that adoption leads into good tokenomics, helping to offset bearish momentum in markets. You also had all of your centralized cryptocurrency exchange tokens beating Bitcoin. Most of them were down 8 or 9% on the week as compared to Bitcoin's 14%. Also, that makes sense too. Centralized cryptocurrency exchange tokens like BNB or, oh my God, they're all escaping me. Crow, there's a bunch of them. Those are typically the last altcoins that people sell because you get cheaper trading fees on those platforms by having those. So you sell all of your other altcoins and then your centralized cryptocurrency exchange tokens last. So they typically always outperform. But, Hyperliquid and Aster's up 10% on the week. Like coins that are getting adoption and that have good business models and that typically have a good tokenomic structure are the ones that you should probably be looking at in this bear market if you're looking to make like longs or something of that nature.
Will, can I ask you a follow-up about tokenomics?
Yeah. Sure. What's the question?
Just how would you say, what are some good things and what are some bad things?
It's all about inflation. So, like Aerodrome is a great example of a token with a cryptocurrency with bad tokenomics, right? But it's very much so being looked at by everyone. So it's still a great coin right now to swing trade. But when things get bad in Aerodrome, they get bad really fast because it has a very aggressive inflation. So I forget what it is. I forget what the annual inflation rate is, but it's high. It's higher than most. And so it becomes a heavier coin to lift up. And as a result, it falls typically faster because of that inflation rate. So Hyperliquid and Aster both have these burn mechanics built in, and some people don't like burn mechanics, some people do, right? From a usability standpoint, Alex makes the argument of like, why would you burn something that you're going to use? For me, I don't personally care too much about it at all, because that's a different, that's a totally different conversation though. So Hyperliquid is a great example where it makes a bunch of money, right? And then it takes a portion of that revenue and it buys back the Hype token and burns it, right? Reducing inflation, reducing supply, trying to make Hyperliquid deflationary. And then Aster just copied that, right? So another coin that could enter this category, and we talked about it the other day, Evan, you weren't here for it, but did you see the Uniswap news that dropped while I was away? Okay, so Uniswap has a proposal that it put in place on November 10th or 11th, where it will introduce a token burn. It's voting on it right now. So the vote will be finished by like the first week of December, I think, or second week of December. So if Uniswap votes on this, Uniswap will have a token burn mechanic where the Uni tokens that are used in the Uniswap auctions, which people will go and they'll auction for cheaper trading fees on Uniswap, any of the tokens used in that will be burned. So to date, Uniswap says, hey, if this proposal goes through, we would expect it that since our inception, this would have resulted in about 800 to like where Uniswap's price currently is right now, $800 to $900 million worth of Uniswap tokens would be burned. And so they're going to go and burn that in their treasury. That way it doesn't link to the price of the token, right? It's just with the tokens that they hold would go away. But still, it's about $1 billion worth of Uniswap. So Uniswap makes a lot of money. Uniswap has a lot of adoption. A lot of people are involved in these Uniswap auctions. And so if you have a burn mechanic for Uniswap, the largest decentralized exchange in the world, this puts Uniswap in a category of cryptocurrencies that, for me, it hasn't been in for a very long time, which is something to maybe invest in. Because now you have a mechanic of the Uni token actually being useful for something, as opposed to really just being a governance token, and something that can reduce the supply of Uni and makes it lighter. The opposite of the case of Aerodrome, where it's a heavier and heavier token to lift, keep trying to lift upwards. Uni could become a lighter and lighter token to make it easier to get to higher levels, right? So some pairing of Uniswap's utility, which it has a lot of in terms of its adoption, being tied to price action, which is really interesting. So we'll see if the vote gets passed. These types of votes typically get passed. If it does, we should expect it to be implemented at some point in Q1 of 2026.
Well, doesn't Arrow already do that?
Doesn't Arrow do what?
I know you've said in the past that its supply is inflationary, but I recall burning. I recall like buyback and burning. I recall a episode of Unchained. Shout out Laura Shin. I'm gonna meet you. That the founder of Aerodrome, and also they had Aerodrome and Moonwell on, and they were talking about the business model of Uniswap before they had turned, before they did this. They've been talking about doing it for a long time, and how other models will necessarily outcompete them because the treasury and the way it's managed are not aligned with everyday holders. Honestly, I'll have to look back at it again and give an opinion. I think this is a great thing for Uniswap, though, and for people who hold it, because now the incentives of the protocol are aligned with the incentives of the people. Before, like, you were buying their token and funding their company, essentially, at no real benefit to yourself, unless there was some sort of hype speculative news, and the token went up in value. But now, through usage, it is made more valuable for everyone. Like, I'm with you. I think it's very bullish news. And I expect to see more protocols do that, and more protocols who do that move, into the top CoinGecko, CoinMarketCap tokens. I'll find out about that Arrow thing.
Yeah, well, I saw some people saying like Aerodrome had a response, and so because I was away, so I wasn't paying too close attention. But yeah, Aerodrome announced a merger on what was this, November 14th? Their merger with Velodrome, which has always been their sister.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's so now like, Aerodrome will be the decentralized. It'll be called Aerodrome, is the decentralized exchange across Base, Ethereum and Optimism now, so that's being paired. But I don't know if there was never a burn mechanic for Aerodrome. There was just a very aggressive like V Arrow strategy. So there was a lot of people taking Aerodrome and staking it, which, just taking supply of Aerodrome and off of markets to affect price and putting it into staking protocols and locking it for a certain period of time. So there is that. There wasn't a burn mechanic unless something changed.
I'll look it back up and see it again. When I met the Morpho team, I met Simon, who's their director of marketing, and I met Merlin, the founder, and they were so nonchalant, not in like a rude way. Their booth was a haircutting booth, and it was like DeFi mullet themed, and they had like actual hairstylists there giving people haircuts, which I've never seen at a crypto conference before.
Interesting.
And they were like, "Oh, let us cut your hair," and I was like, "No, man. If I show up with a haircut, I'll be unfianced immediately." And they talked to me about this and that, but they were at the end of it all. I always like to ask people, I mean, is there anybody you're trying to meet here? Is there, if I connect with somebody, should I send them to you? And they were both like, not really. We're just, and I was like, yeah, it must be good to be Morpho, and everybody that you want at this point has pretty much already come to you or knows your name and has your phone number and is ready. Like, they don't need to do a damn thing. So you get out of here, have fun, get a haircut, see you later. Could you imagine?
So I did sorry, this is a slight change, but going back to Aerodrome for a second. So 15 hours ago, Aerodrome announced 580,000 Aero buyback. So the Aerodrome Public Goods Fund has acquired and max locked 580,000 Aero as a part of its programmatic market-aware buyback model. More than 150 million Aero has been acquired and locked to date via the PGF, Flight School, and Relay. So they do have a buyback.
Yeah, and they've been doing that for a minute since I would have to go look at the docs, but basically, people have the opportunity to lock their Aero for V Aero, and the protocol has been doing that too. And it's driven by the votes of people. They basically say, hey, we've got this revenue from our protocol. What do you want to do with it? It's a meaningful example of aligned incentives and governance in DeFi. And what it has produced as an outcome is the protocol, through the direction of the people that hold the tokens and choose to lock the tokens themselves, has also locked tokens. And it's like this reward generating flywheel that it seems to me like the supply is inflationary, but it also seems like over time, more and more of the supply has been locked. And I just am bullish on companies who do the thing that way because, again, it's like an incentive model where the company and the people are both, wanting to do the same thing, which I think is probably more competitive than at least what Uniswap had been doing previously, which was like spending the treasury however they wanted.
Yeah. I will say, though, that at current price of Aerodrome, that 150 million Aero lockup is only worth, I'm going to say only worth about $100 million.
Is that all?
That's all.
I need Dr. Evil on my soundboard for as much as we say stuff like that.
Yeah, right. $1 million.
Web3 Glossary says, Evan, mullet, if we get to 500,000 likes on a live, no.
500,000 likes, though. Come on.
I'll take
amount
that.
of likes is worth being in the doghouse for a week.
Yeah, Alex could do that.
I'll do it.
Alex, you'd probably rock a mullet, man. I think you would hate it, but you would look really good.
Yeah, it'd be like,
I
mean, I'm overdue anyway. I don't know what I'm doing. This is literally just me being lazy. This getting as long as it is. So why not?
Yeah, I like it though.
Send it.
I would like to see what you look like when you do your hair without a hat, because it's been a long time and it looks long. Luscious.
Right now, it's not ideal because it's too long for me to do much with it. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to have long hair, so I'm just. I don't know. It sounds funny, but it's true.
Well, that reminds me of when that guy joined you in that battle. And you were just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing.
I was so glad I got to see that.
I did not consent to that encounter.
If you missed that, or if you missed another episode, if you've got a crypto question, then let us know. And be sure to check out the community.rumshq.com, because we have so many good resources there to help get you started. Our tongues are not tied online. We have, I don't know, what are we at now? 500 episodes of the show, lots of tutorials, many different types of forums and questions and answers. The only thing missing is you. So check it out, community.rumshq.com. Fellas, I probably need to go un poquito early today, but we've got a few more minutes before we ride our dogs and ponies off into the sunset. So where would you like to take this crazy show before we park it like we stole
Well, I'll let everybody know that NVIDIA, and I know I'm not saying it right. I know it's NVIDIA, but I don't like that. NVIDIA. NVIDIA has
NVIDIA.
video?
Anyway, NVIDIA has its earnings report at the end of the day tomorrow. So that's like 4:30, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. NVIDIA has a larger market valuation than a lot of countries do. So, it's pretty important towards our industry in the crypto space and also in stocks. So someone was also asking, hey, what are your thoughts on the AI bubble popping? If NVIDIA misses its earnings report here, then everyone will scream the AI bubble has popped. You will see the stock market slam down. You'll probably see crypto slam down. Now, if NVIDIA comes out and they still hit their earnings report, you probably see NVIDIA stock end lower by the end of the week, because that's just how it goes by the rumor still in the news. But you probably see the stock market as a whole maybe bounce a tiny little itsy bitsy bit. Analysts are saying they're expecting a 7% move in either direction for NVIDIA based on their earnings report, which would be a massive move and impact in the stock market, which will most likely bleed into crypto. So I've been talking about, hey, we're in bounceable territory here for Bitcoin, particularly at like 90K down to 85K, real strong potential bounce territory. I personally would love to see Bitcoin just be there already before the NVIDIA news, because it would make me think that maybe things could bounce, but we'll see. So just be aware, expect a lot of volatility in markets after the earnings report from NVIDIA at the end of trading on Wednesday and then bleeding into Thursday.
We had a good question that was a follow-up about agentic payments, and specifically whether or not we saw the news with Kite AI and PayPal. In September, PayPal led a Series A investment into Kite AI. They're a blockchain startup that is working to build the trust layer for transactions between AI agents. But this is a problem a lot of different people are swinging a bat at to solve. And PayPal is not new to the crypto space. They have a lot of users. They have a lot of distribution. They have a stable coin, PYUSD. And I'm kind of surprised that we hadn't seen more from them in stablecoin volume, considering how early their stablecoin has been available compared to competitors like, I don't know, what is a USD1, World Liberty Fies token, or even some of the other corpo chains, Circle, Arc, Tempo, that kind of thing, Stripe. I don't know what you guys think about this, but I feel like $18 million is kind of, I don't know. There are a lot of people trying to solve this problem. PayPal's got the distribution. That's a lot of money, but this is an expensive problem. And there's so much stuff happening in this space, like different protocol development standards. Coinbase's X402 that allows agents to pay each other easily. I feel like, I don't know, either it's not enough money for a centralized company to build that solution and they'll be outcompeted by somebody faster, nimbler, or I don't know. I guess that's how I feel. How do you feel about it? You have strong opinions about it. And have you guys heard of Kite AI aside from this?
I did not know.
I haven't heard much from them either, but they're a blockchain startup, which makes me think, where are they? What are they doing? So I don't know.
But this is a total sidetrack. I'm sorry.
Take it.
So Polygon had an announcement a couple hours ago. MasterCard teams with Polygon to let users send crypto to usernames instead of wallet addresses, which isn't a massive thing. Like, we've had that for a while, but it's cool that Polygon and MasterCard are continuing to develop and partner together, which is pretty cool.
Don't a couple of other people have that that kind of, it's like an API, isn't it? Basically.
I mean, what? The fact that you can just like tie a username to a wallet address and have that send?
Yeah. I feel like that's I remember seeing a headline that MasterCard had some sort of like open API thing that people could connect to. And I remember thinking like, oh, I bet we're going to see more crypto companies start to use that. That seems like a super simple feature, like very helpful. So no brainer. I would want to connect to it if it was my crypto company for sure.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Also, that the move away from wallet addresses to users' names, I feel like started like 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. Vitalik said that in his opinion, one of the more promising use cases, non-financial, products and use cases that we've seen in crypto is he pointed to ENS, the Ethereum name service, which is like a www address, but it's a .eth address for your identity on the future internet. The principle is just like you could, rent or lease a website domain. Wouldn't it be great if you could own a wallet address that reflects your identity? Like I have one, conversationswithevan.eth. And there are a couple of others, but ENS is the big one that hosts the most. Oh, Unstoppable? Is Unstoppable bigger in terms of like?
I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, I forgot about them. That's right.
I'd always preferred them just because it's a one-time purchase. You buy the domain and you're done. ENS is a subscription.
Shane Jones wants to know, will my ENS names be worth anything? Do you have Coca-Cola.eth? Do you have
maybe
Eve.eth? Elon.eth? I don't know. It's possible.
It's possible.
I knew a lot of people who, when ENS was first getting big, were like, oh man, we got to buy these up. And people would do that. They would just squat on domain names.
Mm-hmm. A tale as old as time.
CJ says he got squatted on for what? For what, like CJ.eth? For your handle? Oh, somebody see, that doesn't surprise me. Yeah. So CJ's here and he was saying he got targeted. Somebody was like, oh, this guy's a crypto dude. He's going to want this handle. That's honestly why whenever a new service like that comes out, I always try to reserve my name. Like even if I'm not going to use Farcaster or Arena or whatever new app is, Abstract, we get on all of them, or at least I do, because I want to reserve the name. I don't want somebody to squat on it and then
every time
reach out to you and be like, hello, my friend, how is your investing journey going? It is I, Evan, like.
Well, I made that mistake with Instagram. I totally forgot that it existed, and I started to do stuff on TikTok, and then I lost my Instagram handle, the actual handle, to somebody who then ran a very convincing scam, and it took me forever to get through to Instagram to get the account back.
Yeah, well, if there's ever something new, just go and buy Coca-Cola, Disney, PepsiCo.
Godspeed. They're the first to go.
Yeah, they're the first to go. Good luck. Someone's got to get them. Someone gets them.
Says I have DisneyBooks.eth. I don't know, guys. I'm not too bullish on that one.
It's a gamble.
It's a gamble. Don't pay $1 million trillion to renew it. I wouldn't do that.
Hey, in the bear market, you might have some opportunities here.
Yeah. And so tell us your best bear market opportunity buying ENS names. That's a good one. That would be a good final thought to round out with. Give us your best and worst take on what to do if this is a bear market. And I think officially by like some definitions it is, isn't it, William? William.
Isn't it, William?
Every time I see your name on the screen, I think
now we're on like official full name basis. Got it.
Yeah. No, I think I saw you tweet about that, brother. I
think we're in a bear market, but I think it's going to be a short one. It's personally what I think.
Okay, so that's my request for everybody's final thought as you prepare your last questions, suggestions, good jokes, words of wisdom. Also prepare your best tips for what to do in a bear market. ENS names have been taken. And if we don't get to your question, let me remind you one more time that the place the show lives 24/7 is community.rumshq.com. The only thing missing, my friends, is you. Let me say a quick shout out also to the sponsors that make this show possible. The Rise Up Morning Show is powered by Arculus, Unlock Protocol, The White Whale, Jito, and and Polygon. I was trying to do it.
This kitten.
And this kitten. And Polygon. We thank
Polygon,
you all.
AKA kitten.
Kitten. Not ideal. Sorry about that. But we really do appreciate all of our sponsors. And if you know somebody you want to see on the show, you think we should partner with, we think we should explore, then send us a message. share it with us. I'm going to be here meeting all of them this week. We would love to work with or share about the companies you want to talk about. I met a guy last night, Boris, who's in Taldau.
Bullish.
And he's building an app called Clean App. And it's like a mapping service for customer service issues in the physical world, basically. Like, it started when he saw, get this, in Memphis on the banks of the Mississippi River, like a barrel straight from Hollywood Central casting of toxic sludge, just like oozing onto a riverbank near a playground. And he was like, we got to do something about this. And we were just getting excited because when he found out I lived in Memphis, he was like, oh my gosh, you know, my one of my first advisors was the now mayor. And I sat on the couch of a good friend of mine in the Exchange building. And I said, oh my God, the Exchange building. I said, do you know Sardor? We have a friend, Sardor, who is a longtime blockchain enthusiast. He's with the folks over at Goodnow, an experiment to buy an island and then a farm with, you know, smart contract managed assets, early Ethereum miner. And he was like, oh my gosh, I sat on his couch to think of this idea. And now it's this very robust network of aligned incentives around, you know, Alex, you would love it. You got properties to manage and people are always calling you with complaints at the worst time. Wouldn't it be better if you could remove the middleman and your like complaint surfacing space also was visible to vendors who could maybe bid or just offer to do a service, and then you could compensate them later after verifying that it was done? Like streamlining services, whether it's picking up a barrel of toxic oil on the Mississippi River or my light bulb went out, I need someone to fix it. You can surface insights about problems. You can build a cool social graph around solving them. It's called Clean App. I don't have the URL, but I told Boris, I was like, that's exactly the kind of product service we want to talk about. It's a real thing people can start doing today that doesn't require you to, you know, buy and sell a token and hope you'll get rich, but will definitely make people's lives better. So we'll have them on the show. Fellas, have you got a final thought or topic you want to explore?
Yeah, I'll do a final thought. I'll just do another quick little macroeconomic update. This data came out. It was ADP payrolls data. So we're looking at unemployment data for the month of October because we weren't getting jobs data while the government was shut down. So during the month of October, every single week, 2,500 jobs were lost across U.S. companies. Every week, it was 2,500, minus 2,500, minus 2,500, minus 2,500, which is interesting. Also not something that should be a surprise after all the layoffs were announced in the month prior. But for final thoughts, I would say if we, I think we're in like a short bear market here. I think we have a bear market for another 2.5 months to maybe 6 months in total, is what I'm personally thinking. So maybe things bounce in end of winter, early spring, or end of spring, something like that. Is what I'm personally thinking. So if we're in bear market time, we all have to think about, what do you do during this time? You reevaluate the market to see what has strength during all this weakness and start creating a short list of coins that you're potentially looking to buy. You also need to make sure that if you are still holding on to a lot of cryptos, you're earning interest on them. Or if you're in stable coins or looking to get into stable coins after a bounce, you're earning interest on them. So for those interest earning, you need to create strategies. If you don't like going on chain because you're just worried about making a mistake, make sure you're earning interest on your exchange, right? Whatever little bit you can, get it. If you are interested in getting on chain, we have a lot of tutorials of how to do that at the Rise Up community. Also make a request. We can always do videos of that, right? If it's Ethereum, you can go to Lida. If it's Solana, you can use Goodnow. Get your like 5.5% or 5.4%, whatever it's at currently right now. They do fluctuate, make sure you're earning your interest. If it's USDC, go to DeFi Carrot over on Solana, earn like the 6.5% that's right there. That's really good. It's really good. Or go to Morpho or go to Maple Finance. Make sure you're earning interest on your stable coins. Don't just have your money being kind of whittled away because of inflation, right? So this is the time during bearish periods. It is the time to be staking. It is the time, if you weren't before, to be earning interest on the stable coins that you hopefully have. And it is the time to be building a list of the coins that you do have long-term conviction in or midterm conviction in that you want to be building position. It's not necessarily the time. You don't have to be buying right now, but you should be doing the research to create that short list of coins that you do want to make sure you really kind of put the majority of your money into to build a portfolio around. For me, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana are the ones that I'm buying daily right now. And if they get to certain price points, I'll be scooping up more. So that's it for me. There are other coins I like too, but I'll wait till there's like a confirmed bottom before I buy more of those. So those are the things I want to share with you guys.
Beautiful. So for the tokens you believe in, when the moment is right,
it's the perfect time to buy.
And I definitely think we can do more staking tutorials, more DeFi tutorials. This is honestly a wonderful time to get into those things. I am going to meet with the founder of money.The, one of the co-founders that we've seen on the Polygon staking website. They might be great to have on the show. And of course, we can go deeper with Goodnow. And I'm looking forward to having the DeFi Llama folks on the show too. Mm-hmm. Alex, what about you? Have you got a final thought? Good joke? Bear market suggestion? Word of wisdom?
Yes. All right. I'm gonna rapid fire these because I wrote them down. There's 5. So these are more just meant to be amusing little anecdotes. So stick them in your back pocket and think about it. Whenever you buy, if you're looking to buy stuff now, just prepare for it to go lower than the price that you just paid for it. If you keep that in your head, it will help you prevent yourself from going in too hard and buying too much of something. Expect it to continue to go down and make a plan for that. Don't be afraid to pay yourself. If you're nervous, if you aren't quite sure about the longevity of something, if you're not sure about the long term, don't listen to all these idiots who are telling you that it's got a 2x, it's got a 5x, it's got a 10x before you can take profits on something. That's such crap. 10% is a great return on an investment in a short period of time. So if you happen to buy something and then we see a little tiny relief rally that adds a few percentage points to the market, feel free to pay yourself. In fact, I encourage you to do that because we have no clue where these things are going. In that vein, don't overcomplicate stuff. There's only 3 things a market can do: up, down, and flat. So as long as you expect that one of those 3 things is going to happen and you have some sort of a plan for what you would do if scenario A, B, or C plays out, then you're going to be a lot better than someone who doesn't think about it that way. It's not as complicated as some people make it seem. Learning to DeFi is the most valuable thing that you can do for a whole lot of reasons. Because even when it's flat, that doesn't mean that there's no percentages to earn or to add. Like Will mentioned a couple great examples. Even if you're just 100% in stables, you could be farming 6.84% APY right now, which is the best interest rate you're ever going to find on any savings account, just in stables. And there's no reason that you shouldn't be doing that. If you're unsure, if you need some time to think about it, if you want to just park a little bit of it over there, the stat that I used to explain how much more impactful that was than what I was doing before, which was maintaining an actual savings account in a bank, is that in 1/8 the time, with 1/6 of the money, I made 178 times the return compared to my savings account with USAA, just doing a basic USDC stablecoin yield farm. And then finally, you're not obligated to stay with an asset. If you start something and you buy into something and then something changes, we really need to normalize the fact that you can fall out of love with an asset for whatever reason. Okay, there's no sense tying yourself to something and feeling obligated to stay there. Percentages are percentages. If you lose 20% with something and you're not sure that you can make it back with that same thing, make the 20% back with something else that you do have now renewed conviction in or newly discovered conviction in. Right? You buy something, you bought Cardano, it betrayed you. Now you don't have faith in it. You don't have to keep buying it to rescue that position. You can do something else. You could make the returns back with Bitcoin or with ETH or with something else that you believe in. So, the asset's important. Do your due diligence. Don't feel like you need to flit away from something just because it loses a few percentage points or the chart slides, especially when the whole market's sliding. But conversely, don't feel like you're obligated to stay with something just because you bought it once and you're there, even though that's totally the crypto way. Die on the hill, never admit defeat. Your favorite coin is going to win out in the end because you love it just so much. In reality, that's not what matters. So I always say this. We've done this every single time we enter a bearish phase, whether it's going to be for a week or whether it's going to be for 2 years. It literally doesn't matter. Do not squander this opportunity, because that's what it is. It's an opportunity. And I know it's depressing as hell to look at numbers that are way down. If you're, sitting in a position that's now underwater, I know that it's depressing because I've done that to the tune of multiple 6 figures before. It's very demoralizing. But if you let it demoralize you, then you might as well just shut it all down and go home and quit, right? Like, what are we doing here? Time to pivot, time to adjust, time to learn something new, time to add something new to the repertoire, time to get new skills, all that sort of stuff. That's why I feel so strongly about all the partnerships we're doing, because there's ways that you can leverage all those things to make money, regardless of what the market's doing, just by learning the skills and learning how to use this stuff.
And we have lots of great suggestions in the comments for the things to learn. Robbie Ray's shout out said, learn Rust, a programming language. Solidity. You can learn to DCA more effectively, or learn self-custody. If these are new words for you, they're important to learn on your crypto journey. Saito asked about staking and yield farming on a platform like Binance. If that's you, then you could benefit from exploring other platforms like Goodnow or like Aave or like your own wallet, where you can stake or lend anywhere you want. And we are glad to help you figure it out. Go ahead, Al.
You know what's sad is that I actually have 3 screen shares prepared that Cloudflare has kneecapped to walk through like a really cool little simple progression of like liquid staking on Goodnow, and then taking the Goodnow Soul and then restaking it to add a little bit of yield to that percentage that you're already receiving there. And then like the difference between an external vault and an internal vault, and like who all of the contributors are to these things. the whole website is down. Yeah. So, stay tuned for that, because I also collected some feedback from myself just for the way that Goodnow's website is set up, because I think that they're so close. It's really cool. Evan, you would love it. I don't know if you've clicked through all this yet, but like when you get started, so you connect the wallet, right? And then you start and it's like, explore options or something like that. And you get over there and it's kind of just a confusing list of all this stuff. It looks like a Morpho vault list, right? You just see vaults.
Yeah.
And okay, cool. If you understand how that works, great. Easy peasy. Very easy to navigate. Very simple, very clean. But if you don't know what you're doing, it's like, what the hell am I looking at right now? And then there's like a little teeny itty bitty little button that's just like new to DeFi, some lessons or like stuff to learn or a dictionary or something like that. And you click and it's like a stanza, like, yay big with like one thing in it. And it's just like a bumper sticker, cookie cutter, there's nothing there. And I'm like, okay, my first ask is, can I rewrite that for you guys?
Easy. Yeah.
Because that would be killer. Let me make a page. I've got all the copy already. Been doing it for years. But I thought that was such a nice, like, I'm like, okay, the heart's in the right place. We have this like click into the vaults, and then I want a little button up top that's like, easy mode, where it has all the explanations and it explains to me like, okay, what is a vault? What's the difference between external and internal? What do I click on? What am I going to do over here? And they're so close. They have tooltips on everything. They just don't really give you a lot of information that's not also full of jargon. Because they have like a little thing, like it says TVL, you can highlight it and it gives you a tooltip. What is TVL? So like, that's all really cool. I want to beef it up a little more, because right now it's set up to do this beautiful, like, log in, connect a wallet. How much SOL do you have? Contribute a little bit of it. And now let's walk that all the way to like from level 1 to level 5, like doing something DeFi related with it. I think it's such a cool journey. It just needs to be like, laid out a little bit more simply, I think, to help onboard new people.
I will say something that I've done in a lot of my conversations the last week or so with other people in the industry, when I'm talking about crypto solutions, products, especially when I'm talking about Rise Up, and I tell people, these are examples of the companies we partner with. And I explain to them that one of the things we want to do is that our partners are generally very interested in hearing from audiences like you, because they don't get exposed to audiences like you on crypto Twitter, or they have a hard time getting feedback from users of their protocol. And so I said, one of the things that I think we're really well equipped to provide is feedback about what it's like to use these products, where it's painful, where there's opportunities to do something better, from people who have tried a lot of different stuff, or people who are learning to do the thing for the first time on your product. whether they're, a young person, an old person in the United States or in New Mexico, it's like, that's really valuable. A lot of people have said, oh yeah, that's why people want to come on the show. So if you have feedback about the partners or even about another crypto company, I said the Morpho guys were nonchalant, but I'm sure they would like to hear from you. I have told them as much. I said, your product is wonderful, though it is a little difficult for somebody to use if they're a first timer. They want to hear that. We want to hear that. And I think that is it, except
almost.
I see you have one final thought.
I have
a final.
Oh, good. Oh, you have a final thought or you have to go?
I have to go.
Oh, I'm sorry, Will. Okay.
I have to go. Good. Oh,
I think
Thank
that I'm sorry. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for your friend and mine, Mr. Will Watson.
bye.
As Alex takes us one final thought closer to the end of the show.
This is it.
Okay.
I promise. It was just in response to a comment that I just think is worth highlighting because it kind of.
Sure.
Okay, so the comment was, I don't know. I refuse to accept that this is a bear market. December and January will be great. First of all, I love your optimism. Godspeed and good luck. Also, it's worth noting that it's possible. Okay, the whole thing could turn around tomorrow and everyone can be like, oh, we're so back. And then it could rally and it could go up and it could set it. Theoretically, it's possible. Counting on that will lead you to despair. But it's worth like incorporating into your plan. Like when I say that markets can only do three things, up, down, sideways, that's what I mean. So if you have like an asset, let's just say Bitcoin, let's stick with Bitcoin for simplicity. You have some Bitcoin, you believe in it, you're buying it right now. Okay. Or you're selling all of it in the hopes that it's gonna tank and go down. What are you cheesing at?
Robert Steckler, who said, Alex, we just need a tweet. Could Elon just mention Doge? Could Trump just say, we're back? I don't know. We just need a tweet, man.
I hate that one tweet from some manipulative asshole is the equivalent of can the devs do something now?
I hate that it's right. It's right.
I hate that it's right, but that's the world we live in. But no, that's all it is, right? So if Bitcoin is your jam, if Solana is your jam, if Ethereum is your jam, if Avalanche is your jam, whatever it is, and you're like, well, I think the market's going to crash lower, so I'm going to sell 100% of my bag and wait for that to happen. And you do that, and then it goes up exclusively. And now you're like buying back in as it's going up, and then it crashes again after that. This is not the position you want to be in. I know because I've been there, and it's awful, and that's how you lose even more money than you were about to lose by just letting the position crash. Okay, so that's why I never sell the whole thing and I never buy with the whole stack. So it's possible that this is not a bear market. It's possible that this is a little blip, and starting tomorrow, we're going to go up for all of December and January. Do I think that's likely? Not even remotely, but it's possible, and I could easily be wrong. And you can prepare for both. So I just want to say the whole, like, the annoying non-answer to this whole thing is no one knows where the market's going to go, but you can take steps to prepare yourself for all three possible eventualities.
Very wise.
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Maybe we could just get William quickly back on the show and could get him to chase another bear.
That's probably what we need. Yeah. Although it's got to be an organic bear. You can't plant a bear for him to chase.
A paid actor.
It's the bear. That bear looked like a paid actor. The fact that it wasn't is the reason that we did rally after that.
Okay, my friends, thank you so much for being the very best part of what we do. We're going to be back tomorrow with another great episode. Hopefully everybody's internet works perfectly, including yours, wherever you are, whenever you listen. We hope your internet signal and your candles are green. One more thank you to our sponsors, Arculus, Jito, Unlock Protocol, The White Whale, and Polygon. We appreciate you for making excellent education accessible, and we appreciate you, friends. Yes, you. Until next time, everybody, thank you. Be well, my friends. Rise up.